to our first book review of the year. And it's a good one. So this is Witch in Darkness, Magic for Tough Times, Bad Days, and Moments of Total Catastrophe by AnnMaddox. If you don't know who she is, you should fix that. I love her. I love her channel. I don't think I'm biased because of that, but just as an FYI, I love her. I've had a few readings from her. Granted, it's been a long time ago now. At this point, it's been like a lifetime ago because so much has changed since I last talked to her. A little part of me wants to just like order a spiritual session with her and be like, listen, I need you to help me really truly witch through this. But she's fantastic. She has so many good resources and I need her to write more books. So this one, you don't necessarily need to read her first one, but I would encourage you, Rebel Witch, just so you kind of get her flavor of witchcraft, which I really enjoy. Basically, do it yourself. Just what works for you. She has the mystical magpie thing, and I still constantly find myself being like, that is, I think, truly my life, actually. So this one, as the title would suggest, this is a book for witching through the shitty times. And that is what this book is for. I needed this, but I think she had to go through some of her things to like really have a little bit more depth to what she was writing about. Just because I feel like it's a little different once you like experience certain things, unfortunately, because like I haven't experienced what she went through, but also like having a very traumatic death I think does kind of change you as a person. And this book handles that. It handles a lot of things, and I have needed this book since at least like 2019, like when my mother-in-law had passed. So anyways, this is a terrible review. This book talks about when shit hits the fan, whether it's death or it's, you know, a bad breakup, a toxic relationship, talks about the like darkness of like scarcity and lack, and then also like going through like a spiritual crisis. Like there's just like every kind of crap situation you're gonna deal with, she pretty much covers in here. And at the end of each of the chapters, there are some like journal prompts, there's a reading to do and some affirmations, and just do yourself a favor, get a copy. This book I gave my first 5 out of 5. I love Kellyanne anyways, but I really love this book. I need to go buy it. It's marked its way all the way up to the tippy top of my list of to be boughts, because this is one I think I could use on the regular. So this book, the way she presents it, it's just one of those books that I feel like I could just actually work my way through pretty much everything in here, because inevitably like there's going to be things that come up that this would just be appropriate for, and to even retroactively work through things. Again, we had a lot of deaths that have happened. Pretty much every year somebody dies in our existence, so it's just, it hasn't stopped yet. It started in like 2014, and just pretty much every year there's a death going on. And definitely since 2017, they've been more impactful deaths. Just and so I could use this book a lot. I wish I would have had this when my mother-in-law passed and I was really struggling to process those emotions. And there's really not a lot of like witchcraft counselors here at all. And like, while I love Kellyanne, financially ordering readings from her is just not always financially viable. And so I couldn't just do that. And also she's booked out for a long time, and like when you need help in the now, you don't feel like waiting like 2 to 3 months. So I kind of just had to figure it out on my own, and I tried like traditional like grief counseling, which as per always just is never helpful. So I wish this would have existed to help me process things as a witch. And then when my third parent, as I call him, my grandpa, died in 2020, that one I really needed this book. And then just everything, every time I've gotten fired, you know, when you like that one really messes you up when you don't have any write-ups or warnings or anything, and just suddenly you're out of a job and you're relying on money, and it's harder to match that paycheck because, again, like the unskilled labor, which is stupid because also there's a lot of medical jobs that are unskilled that you don't even need to be licensed for, and you would make more at like Mickey D's, so that's cool. But yeah, so this book walks you through everything, and it even talks about, again, the scarcity, which is like hello hi, but then also there is like how to handle like when your witching is just not where you want it to be. When you go through that crisis of like, you know, there's varying levels of it, but I refer to that time as my spiritual crisis, because like, and like a crisis of faith, because like you usually see it in other religions, but trying to find a resource on that for witches is really not easy. And the one who talks about it is Miss Kellyanne. I think she has a couple videos kind of addressing it-ish, but she has a whole section on it in this book talking about it. And just the way she presents witchcraft of like, it is there to serve you, and like, you don't have to show up to the altar perfect. And I just, reading it is just a love letter from her, because I'm sitting there like reading this book and like, I haven't utilized my witch space in months because I haven't been home for a while. And like, it's kind of gotten taken over with crap for a second, because like, I was initially just gonna store like our Yule decorations. All of those boxes were just kind of set there for a second, and it was like the next day I was going to play Tetris and fit them back under the stairs. And then emergency surgery and death, and then you're like, well, crap, okay, cool. And so it sat there. Now it's January, so I need to clean out and revamp my space, but I felt like I couldn't really be a witch without my space. And it's like, God, everywhere I look is cluttered, and I just need to do a deep clean, and like, I just need to organize, and like, I still need to unpack now that we're home. Like, it's just a lot. Plus, I've been busy with work and like trying to finish up the end of the year review video things, and finishing up the drafting and formatting and everything for my next book. And so it's just been a lot, and it's like, I just don't feel like I can witch. And then this book was like, do it from bed. Like, do it from your office, do it wherever, do it in your car, whatever. And so I need to go buy me a copy of this book and just like genuinely just reread it just all the time, because there is so much in here that is just so good. And the exercises, I think, will be very helpful. It's a lot of out-of-the-box traditional like witchcraft things too, which I really love. Like, there was one of like the thing of like when you're really upset and you scream into a pillow. She has a ritual for making a sacred towel that you scream into, and it's like, you know what? There's been times that like that probably would have been a good thing to have in the toolbox of what to do, because sometimes that's just all you need. And then there's rituals for like, tea, because of course, wouldn't be Kellyanne without some tea in there. And of course, all of the readings I think would be very interesting to go through. And kind of on that note, one of the things that I personally took away from that section in particular of all of these different readings at the end of the chapters was that when I thought about it, it's like, if I pulled the card with this question in mind, would I actually know what the card would be saying? Like, if I pulled the Eight of Swords for like, I even almost flipped to the an exact page. So, okay, if I'm gonna do a reading and I pull the card like Eight of Swords for what kinds of creations will my reborn inner artist want to make, do I actually know what that answer would be? And the reality is that like, no. And I think that's part of the reason that I struggle with reading so much. But reading through it, I did realize that there was a different deck that I think would be more helpful for that, and it's the new Deborah Blake Animal Oracle deck, just because I think the concepts of like the guardian animal thing might be more easy for my brain to wrap around and like quickly answer, because tarot is still hella complicated. And like, obviously for Kellyanne, she's done it professionally forever, so she knows the cards inside and out, backwards and forwards, and I don't. I know them somewhat. I'm getting better, but like, I have a new deck that I'm gonna be working with, but like, for those kinds of questions, it's not like the appropriate time to be like learning the cards. I feel like that's when you already know them, and that's why I love oracle decks. I just have always done better with those anyways. And so it's like, so I want to buy this, I want to buy the deck, and the two live happily together on a shelf. Because yeah, this book, it's so good. So anyways, basically, I absolutely love this book. I think every witch should read this, and at the very least, see if it's something that would help you. I think pretty much every witch could get something from this, because again, it's so good, and it covers so many different things, And like, life is never going to just be perfect all the time. Inevitably, you're gonna have crap happen. Like, either somebody you love is going to break up with you, or you're going to have a loss of some kind. You're going to question your witchhood. And like, if you haven't had that yet, just wait. It'll happen. It'll happen multiple times. Life is a cycle, and it's just gonna come right back. And, you know, there's been plenty of times where like you question your witchhood. And again, if you haven't had that yet, it'll happen. Just wait. And this book kind of holds your hand through that. And then of course, the bigger things, when you go through loss, especially a significant loss, you know, when somebody close to you dies, it's a really good place to kind of learn how to process your feelings. And if you deal with like depression or anxiety or anything, there's a lot of really good stuff in here too. So obviously, I recommend it to everybody. Just get it. It's such a good book. And if you want more content from her, she has like 1,000 billion videos available. She also is pretty active on Patreon. I'm part of her Patreon. So she's got stuff all the time. I think I get like 3 emails a day, I swear. Not really, but it feels like it. Because also, I'm part of the OG tier, so like, you can't join it. Sorry, you had to be there. But there's like, every tier has like stuff going on, and they always post everything on the same day. So it's just like, email, 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 and you're like, okay. So it feels like a lot, but it probably isn't. But yeah, so you have like sip tea with her, there's a 1-card riff, she usually does like some affirmations, like she's got just a lot of stuff. If you want, head over to her Patreon, and then just on her channel, she's got a lot of stuff. You can get readings from her. Her readings are really fantastic. I don't know if she still does the pre-recorded. That was my preferred method because like focusing, I like to rewatch it a billion times and like take notes as I'm going, and I don't know if she still offers that anymore. Because again, I haven't had a reading from her since 2017. So when I used to work at a hospital was the last time I had a reading from her. So it's been a while. Life is very different from then. Because at that point in life, like I was considering like how to get my bleeding under control, and like, do I have to get a hysterectomy before I'm 25? And now I don't have to worry about that at all. And I'm a full-time author, and I love my life. And like, now I'm saving up for the future and stuff. So anyways, basically, you should just learn from Kellyanne. She's fantastic, and buy this book. So I would love to know your thoughts if you've read this or her other book in the comments down below, and just maybe remind her casually of just like, write another book please, because hers are so good. Like, she doesn't publish very frequently, but man, she's good at it. She is really, really good at it. Of course, she does also constantly post on YouTube, so you kind of get the feel that way, but something about having a written form. So anyways, I have a phone call. Thank you to my Patreon peeps, and until next time, blessed be.